ABC News. This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Reporting tonight from ABC News election headquarters in New York City.
Good evening. We're actually at Times Square for this great event. The campaign is really over. The election is well underway. We've already projected that Kentucky and Indiana have been won by George W. Bush in the presidential race, of course. But there is no absolute clue there to the overall outcome in the presidential campaign tonight. There's every chance, as you know, that in many ways this is going to be an unusually interesting election night. People have been voting all over the country today, conferring power on some politicians and taking it away from others. It doesn't happen like this in any other country in the world. These are some of the live pictures from Seattle and New York City. There is no way to estimate turnout at this time of the day except in your own neighborhood, and we hear all sorts of anecdotes about how heavy the turnout is. We'll let you know later. We know that it's going to be close in many races in the House, too. Democrats and Republicans everywhere doing what they can to get every last eligible voter to the polls. It's a huge effort. Control of the House may not be resolved tonight. Remember that. That's how close many of the House races are. Tight Senate races as well. It'll be tough for the Democrats to win the Senate, but it is not impossible. Now, as you know, we do exit polls throughout the day for people coming away from the polling booth. We don't make calls on exit polls, but we do ask people what they are thinking, and it helps us establish what are the issues on their mind and which way have they been thinking. Let's go to the woman who will do that for us throughout the evening, ABC's Lynn Sherr. And Lynn Sherr, I know what we're picking up today is a very sharp divide in the country.
You're absolutely right, Peter. Two conflicting points of view emerging from our exit polls, interviews with some 7,000 voters nationwide. How do they feel about this country? Let's take a look at the numbers. Fully two-thirds, that's 65%, say they believe that this country is going in the right direction. That number, by the way, up dramatically from the last two elections. Only 31% say that they think things are on the wrong track. Now, this continuity, of course, has been the theme of Al Gore's campaign. But we asked another question as well. We asked about the role of government, and let's take a look at those numbers. Only 41% say they believe that the government should be doing more, whereas 54%, more than half, say they believe that they should think that the government, should be doing less. Clearly, George W. Bush's theme. So these are the two pulls in this campaign, Peter.
So, Lynn, we've also spent the whole year talking about issues versus character. What are you finding so far?
As they have consistently, the voters are saying they're voting on issues, not on character, but there is one quality that stands out. Voters say they want their candidate to be honest and trustworthy. Peter?
Thank you very much. A great deal more in the exit polls later this evening. We will have those questions and many more answered before the night is too old. Now, I want you to meet two very tired men who've been covering the Bush and the Gore campaigns for us, ABC's Dean Reynolds and ABC's Terry Moran. Dean Reynolds is tonight in Austin, Texas. Dean, just give us a sense of what the day has been like for you and the governor.
Well, Peter, the mood at the Bush campaign headquarters is described as upbeat, though it is leavened a bit by some anxiety about how close they believe this race really is. After 5 hours of sleep, Bush was up this morning and working the phones.
Greg, George W. Bush, seeking the presidency.
Exhorting voters to the polls.
Well, I'm honored to have your support. I thank you for your vote. Make sure you take your family members, friends, neighbors, and anybody else.
And he took a moment to reflect on the campaign just ended.
There's been a lot of highlights. And the interesting thing is there haven't been many low points. Even the low points have turned out to be positives.
Then, in the teeth of a Texas rainstorm, he and his wife went to the Travis County Courthouse to vote and then to wait. Now, the governor will come to an Austin hotel this evening to watch the returns with much of the Bush clan, including his mother and father, who are described tonight, not surprisingly, as nervous.
Thank you, Dean. I must say that the governor looks pretty fit after 18 months of campaigning. You look a little tired. The man who really probably is legitimately more tired at this point is ABC's Terry Moran, because the vice president kept him on the run for what, the last 36 hours, Terry?
About, Peter, and the past few days before that were even worse. But the mood here, the Gore campaigns, they're on the edge of their seats because it's close. They're still hustling with a lot of volunteers from the Nashville headquarters going door to door here to get out the vote in Tennessee, and hopeful that they can still get 270 electoral votes. The candidate himself, characteristically, is still working.
Al Al Gore, showing few signs of wear and tear from his 30-hour final campaign marathon, voted early this afternoon at the Forks River Elementary School in Elmwood, Tennessee, just down the road from his home in Carthage. Gore spoke with the students after voting, turning his visit into a little civics lesson.
Okay, how many branches of government are there in the United States?
But while the candidate struck a relaxed note, campaign staffers were nervous. Voter turnout was the big concern, with Gore's aides eyeing the weather and pulling out all the stops to get voters to the polls.
Are you ready to win?
Gore did his part late into the night and early morning with a huge rally in Miami and a final stop in Tampa.
It's almost 5:30 a.m. Texas time, and George W. Bush is still asleep, and I'm still speaking to people here in Florida.
And even at this late hour, Gore is still at it. He's been doing satellite and radio interviews all day, on one of which he said a little while ago he expects to find out the result around midnight tonight, and he doesn't expect to lose. Peter?
Thank you very much, Terry. Expect to have Terry around with us throughout the evening. Now, you've heard Terry say it, you've heard it said so many times. It takes 270 electoral votes to win. We asked our senior political analyst, George Stephanopoulos, here to produce 3 boards for us, George, on what we should actually look for this evening. And the first one, I gather, is big battlegrounds.
Big battlegrounds. 3 big states we've talked about all year: Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Florida. This is where the candidates spent the most money and the most time. Bush went there 53 times. Gore went there 66 times. Whoever wins 2 out of 3 of these states should be in this driver's seat tonight, especially if he wins Florida. But the Bush team has built a firewall against a poor showing in the battlegrounds. And that's the next board, the Dukakis 6, I'll call them. These are 6 states that should be solidly Democratic. They were won by Michael Dukakis once, Bill Clinton twice, but the Bush campaign has made an extraordinary investment in these states, and he can still put together an electoral college majority with winning 4 or 6 of these states, even if he loses Florida.
And you've got one more board, which you've described as Mr. Gore's last stand.
Mr. Gore's last stand. The DNC has said that this campaign is going to be decided on the West Coast. 4 states: New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, and Nevada. Bill Clinton won New Mexico and Nevada twice, Arizona and Colorado once. What Gore is counting on, he didn't spend a lot of time here, but he's hoping maybe for a huge Latino vote at the last minute, which could pull a surprise in one of these states.
Now, just based on the polls as they were on the final day, when did we last see an election this close? 1976?
76 in the Electoral College, 1960, only 112,000 votes in the 1960 campaign. But this is the closest one I've ever seen.
And we have sort of tumbled these numbers as many ways almost as the campaigns. Based on the final polls, the electoral vote could be very close, even-tied?
It's 269, 269. There's about 40 different ways to get to 269, 269. I've been playing on my calculator all day, and you can come up with a lot of different combinations that has Gore at 271, Bush at 272.
Please do not crash the system too early.
Promise not to.
Thanks. George Stephanopoulos will be with us throughout the evening. When we come back, a fierce campaign for the control of Congress. And then in other news today, the great diamond heist that was actually doomed from the outset.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Brought to you by Pfizer.
I'm ready, ready as anybody can be. I'm ready, ready as anybody can be. Yeah.
Are you ready to ask your doctor about Viagra? Get ready.
All right.
Ask your doctor if a free sample of Viagra is right for you.
Well, I'm ready for you. I hope you're ready for me.
The latest styles don't have to cost a fortune.
Right now at LensCrafters, you can find great-looking glasses for only $99.
Hundreds of the latest styles, frames, and lenses, all for only $99. Hurry, sale ends November 25th.
Let's hear it for the lady. The one whose work is never done. Without you, none of us would even be here. Here's to you, Mom. From a car with the right stuff to get you through it all. Chevy Malibu. The car you depend on every day. Just like you, we'll be there.
Now, can the Democrats win control of the Senate? Will the House keep us up? long past breakfast. Two of the most important people in the room tonight are Sam Donaldson and Cokie Roberts, who are tracking the races in the House and the Senate. I want to go to Sam first. Sam, we've already projected that Richard Lugar will hold his Senate seat in Indiana. What else have you got?
Well, let's see whether the Democrats can pick up the Senate, Peter. It's possible, as you said. Maybe not probable. The Republicans have had an edge of 54 to 46. Democrats have to pick up 5 seats. And as you just said, Lugar's is not going to be one of them. But there are many Republican senators incumbents who are in trouble. For instance, in Delaware, Bill Roth, 79 years of age. Age is the issue, being hard-pressed. In Michigan, Spencer Abraham, a first-termer. He, too, is in a very tight race. In Minnesota, Rod Graham's another Republican first-termer, hard-pressed. In Montana, Conrad Burns has 2 terms under his belt, but he may not have a third, according to the polls. In Washington State, Slade Gorton. He is in trouble there. And in Missouri, the ghost of a man is chasing John Ashcroft. Mel Carnahan, who was killed 3 weeks ago, is still on the ballot. Now, in Florida, it's an open seat, but Connie Mack, the Republican, is retiring. The polls showed that Bill Nelson, the Democrat, was ahead. There are a couple of bright spots, however, for the Republicans. In Nevada, that was an open Democratic seat. Richard Bryan retiring, and the Republican seems to be ahead there. And in Virginia, Chuck Robb, 2-term Democratic senator, in a very, very tight race. Then, Peter, what's going to happen in New Jersey? Can John Corzine, who spent $52 million of his own money, retain that seat for the Democrats? And here in New York State, will Hillary Rodham Clinton retain that seat for the Democrats and go on to be the Democratic star? There she is voting with, yes, indeed, with her husband, the president. Going to be a tight, tight night, Peter, before we can say who is going to control the Senate.
Thank you very much, Sam, as anticipated. Now let's go to the House and ABC's Cokie Roberts. Cokie, I gather you've got one projection, and there may be a sort of indication for us, if nothing else.
We actually have a couple now, Peter. The House of Representatives, same thing. You've got 223 Republican seats now, 210 Democratic seats. The Democrats need to pick up 7 to win. They already have picked up one of those, so it's really only 6. That doesn't sound very hard, but it is hard, and they were hoping in Kentucky, where the polls have already closed, to pick off a couple of incumbents, and it looks like that's going to be very hard to do. Ann Northrup, incumbent there, appears to be beating Eleanor Jordan, the Democratic nominee. And in the 6th District of Kentucky, a rematch, Ernie Fletcher, the incumbent Republican, seems to be beating Scotty Bassler, the Democrat who had the seat a couple of years ago. Guns, a huge issue in that campaign. The National Rifle Association spent a lot of money. It seems to have paid off. So the Democrats' hopes of picking up early seats seem to be thwarted, but look to Florida, where they have a bunch more at stake.
Okay, Cokie, thanks very much. Begin to get underway in real earnest in about half an hour from now. But we're joined immediately by our political director, Mark Halperin. We were talking just a while ago that we got more than 100 million people today maybe casting their vote. And over the last several days, we've heard about irregularities and fraud. Who's watching for it? How much should we suspect?
Every election in this country has some fraud, some mistakes. That many people voting, you're going to see just some ballots lost, probably some confusion. Historians are clearly going to look at this race, if it's close, and try to figure out what happened, where the votes all counted, and maybe the campaigns, too. I'm not predicting it. I'm not saying it will happen. But if this race is close, you could see the 2 campaigns going state by state, looking at the results.
So the effective policing of this doesn't really begin until after it's over.
That's right. They'll wait until tomorrow, and they'll see the result and see if it's worth challenging.
We saw some touches of it today, or at least we saw some allegations already today.
Have that every time, every campaign. There's some allegations. In a close race, though, when every vote matters, people are going to look real close at all this.
No, I understand this is a little early, that we don't make judgments based on exit polls, but even on the final polls, there's some second guessing beginning to go into the system all over the place.
There's no question, you know, in the minds of these campaign aides, they're saying, boy, look at that state, we're so close, maybe we should have put in a little bit more effort there. Maybe a state where it doesn't look so close to them right now, and they're saying, boy, what a waste of time and money we put in trying to win that state.
Now, you've spent the last couple of years working on all of the permutations of this. Based on the closing polls, do you think it can be as close as other people are projecting?
I do. You've got 2 guys who have geographical bases. They've got a lot of electoral votes. It would seem very locked up. And now it's just the combinations that you got to play with to get one guy over 270. Both of them still can do it.
One thing to look for this evening?
One thing, I'll go back to the same thing we've been talking about, Pennsylvania, Florida, Michigan. If Al Gore can win all 3 of those states, he can put together a coalition with fewer states but more electoral votes.
Go back to watching. Thanks very much, Mark Halperin. Now, next on our broadcast this evening, we'll get to some of the referendums, school vouchers, gay marriage, growth, taxes. There were ballot initiatives all over the country.
When I got my cholesterol checked, it was high. Too high. So Liz and I got very careful about what we were eating. We even joined a gym. But my doctor found my cholesterol was still too high.
He's doing everything you asked. Now what?
That's when my doctor added Lipitor.
Lipitor is the #1 prescribed medication for lowering cholesterol. In clinical studies, Lipitor with diet lowered bad cholesterol 39 to 60%, total cholesterol 29 to 45%, triglycerides 19 to 37%. Once-a-day Lipitor is not for everyone, including people with liver disease or possible liver problems, women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. Blood tests are needed to check for liver problems. Tell your doctor about muscle pain or weakness, as they may be signs of serious side effects. Call 1-888-LIPITOR.
Look at those numbers. They're way down.
Lipitor did it.
Ask your doctor what Lipitor can do for you. Lipitor, the lower numbers you're looking for.
Great place. I like your neighborhood.
Thanks.
Oh,
Sorry.
Time to buy a Galant. 0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments for an entire year on our best-selling Mitsubishis. Hurry, this deal ends soon.
You know, when a toilet bowl overflows over the floor, it's not a nice thing. I've been in the septic business 32 years. You could have a lot of trouble with your septic if you don't maintain it. When it backs up, it will either come out on the lawn or it could back up into your basement. The odor would permeate right through the whole neighborhood. We went to clean this woman's septic tank, and every time I stuck the shovel in the ground, she went, "Oh, my grass, my heart." It's cheaper to maintain your septic system.
The bacteria and enzymes in Rid-X help prevent septic backups. Use Rid-X once a month.
Your vote and your money. Once the race is over, what will happen on Wall Street? How the election could impact your savings on Good Morning America tomorrow.
Well, in addition to all the candidates, there are more than 200 referendums, to be correct, referenda, and voter initiatives on various state ballots across the nation. They give people in different states a direct say in many of the country's most significant issues. We'll watch them as they come throughout the evening, but for now, here's ABC's Judy Muller.
History tells us that voter turnout is 3 to 7% higher when an initiative is on the ballot. Chalk it up to immediate gratification.
With a ballot measure, whether it's banning billboards or banning same-sex marriage or cutting their taxes or campaign finance reform, they know that the day after the election, those laws will go into effect.
This year, $200 million was spent on initiative campaigns, with half of that in California, on such measures as Prop 38, which would give parents vouchers worth $4,000 to send their children to private schools, a move fiercely opposed by teachers' unions.
NEA is categorically opposed.
In Massachusetts, one hot issue was a referendum that would lead to universal health care in that state by 2002.
We are the only industrialized country in the world that does not cover all of its people with health insurance. We are it. We're alone.
Nevada and Nebraska voters will decide whether to ban same-sex marriages, and Oregon voters will decide on a measure which would prohibit any tolerant discussion about homosexuality or bisexuality in public schools.
They cannot deal with it in a way or manner that promotes, encourages, or sanctions it.
In Colorado, where development has been eating up the rural landscape, one ballot measure would require communities to come up with voter-approved plans for future growth. Opponents of the Controlled Growth Initiative, including most major developers here in Colorado, have spent a record $5.1 million in an effort to defeat it. Costly, but apparently effective. Polls show the measure is likely to lose. Despite the influence of special interests, voters still see the ballot initiative as a powerful tool for the little guy who wants to take politics into his own hands. Judy Muller, ABC News, Denver.
As Judy said, instant gratification, some of it goes into effect right away. When we come back, one of the other great stories today, the diamond heist that wasn't meant to be.
Love is in the air, everywhere I look around. Love is in the air, every sight and every sound.
Looking good, babe.
Love is in the air.
Because you can't share secrets with your grandson for years and years.
Who says you can't watch the waves break for many summers to come?
Pravachol says you can fight back against heart attack. If you have high cholesterol or heart disease, and diet and exercise still aren't enough, adding Pravachol can make a difference. Other drugs lower cholesterol, but Pravachol is the only drug of its kind that's also proven to help prevent both first and second heart attacks, so you can live a longer, healthier life. Talk to your doctor about Pravachol today. Pravachol, a prescription drug, isn't for everyone, including people with liver problems or women who are pregnant, nursing, or may become pregnant. And because serious side effects can result, tell your doctor about any muscle pain or weakness you experience while on Pravachol. Your doctor may do blood tests to check for liver problems. Tell your doctor about any medicines you are taking.
Who says you can't spend a lifetime with your first love?
Pravachol. It's your life. Fight for it.
Eating Quaker oatmeal actually helps remove cholesterol from your body. I'll let Mr. Fry tell you how good it tastes. I guess actions speak louder than words. Quaker oatmeal warms you, heart and soul.
Want to start a family?
Right now?
I just got supplemental insurance.
What's that?
Aflac. Well, if we get sick, our health insurance won't cover things like lost pay or other expenses. This does.
What's it called?
Aflac! I don't know.
Aflac. Without it, no insurance is complete.
Well, the big event overseas today is the jewel heist that went wrong almost from the very beginning. It would have made a great movie, a landmark setting, a priceless diamond, and plans for a daring getaway. But Scotland Yard in London knew it was coming. Here's ABC's Sheila McVicker.
This is what the thieves were after, the Millennium Star and 11 other jewels. In all, $500 million worth of flawless diamonds inside London's Millennium Dome. This morning, a bulldozer rammed through a perimeter fence, crashed through a wall, and 4 men in flak jackets, gas masks, and armed with nail guns leapt out.
They also had sledgehammers with them and various bits of equipment to break through the reinforced glass that the jewels are kept in, the diamonds are kept in.
The thieves had planned a getaway straight out of the latest James Bond film, a speedboat escape down the Thames River. What the would-be thieves did not know was that the police were ready and waiting. Policemen dressed as cleaners inside the dome. Police speedboats ready on the Thames. And as for the collection of diamonds, yesterday they were swapped for worthless glass. The police let the thieves get right into the vault, the door slammed shut, and that was the end of what officials say would have been the greatest robbery ever. Sheila McVicker, ABC News, London.
Some surprise. In London, by contrast, after 20 hours, surgeons finally separated 3-month-old Siamese twin sisters, and only one survived the operation as they'd anticipated. After weeks of intense legal and ethical debate, both girls would have died if they had not been separated. On Wall Street today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down 25 points to close at 10,952. The NASDAQ was down just under a point. When we come back, preparing for the inauguration. Yes, it's early, but it is a tradition.
Departing the White House approximately 10:45 to make their way along the parade route to the Capitol.
Introducing the all-new Chevy Tahoe. Now offering a third row of seats that's light and easier to handle than anything else out there. It's nowhere near anything. The new Chevy Tahoe, like a rock.
Open up to a whole new fresh feel.
Open up to a fresh new idea from Bounce. New Bounce Fabric Refresher sprays odors out of fabrics throughout your home, leaving a gentle freshness.
Doesn't it feel good to make a fresh start today?
The latest styles don't have to cost a fortune.
Right now at LensCrafters, you can find great-looking glasses for only $99.
Hundreds of the latest styles, frames, and lenses, all for only $99. Hurry, sale ends November 25th.
A 4-minute mile. A pole vault of 20 feet. A perfect 10. The experts said these could never happen. What do they know?
It couldn't be any closer. As votes are cast, America turns to Peter Jennings and the people of ABC News for unmatched reporting. Election night, starting at 7 Eastern. When there's a winner, ABC News will be there. ABC 2000.
Finally, this evening, we want to look ahead a little farther than you might expect when we've yet to see the election results. But in a nonpartisan way. After all, you can never be too ready. Here's ABC's Robert Krulwich.
So at 11:30, the presidential escort buses.
Lieutenant Colonel Rucker Sneed may not look it, but he's a party planner. His outfit, AFIC, the Armed Forces Inaugural Committee, is already rehearsing the inauguration of the next president even before anybody knows who that president will be.
Whoever is a president,
says Brigadier General Nick Perkins.
Doesn't matter. We're going to do this.
And they do it very precisely. On a 16 by 22-foot laminated paper map of the Capitol, they move through the day, minute by minute, using little wooden blocks that have been decorated by Master Sergeant Jerry Blanford.
To tell you the truth, my whole military career, I never envisioned ending up in a place like this.
But now, like the others, he's quite into it. So, for example, whoever the next president is, at precisely 11 o'clock on inaugural day, there will be a military guard right here.
The cordon will line up on the steps of the Capitol.
Let's get a better look at the cordon. Let's just see them right side up at full attention. Okay.
And the president and the first lady will arrive.
There is a tradition in this country, going back to George Washington's first inaugural, that the military is always present when the new president swears his oath of office. This has happened 53 times in America, every time peacefully. And that's unusual, said one president 20 years ago.
In the history of our nation, it is a commonplace occurrence. And few of us stop to think how unique we really are.
Just watching a scene like this, how easily we transfer power, as President Reagan said, it's nothing less than a miracle. Robert Krulwich, ABC News.
Of course, we still have to get through this evening, which should be exciting. That's a report on world news tonight. We hope you'll be with us throughout the night and at abcnews.com all the time. The polls are about to close in half a dozen more states, and our full evening of election coverage is just about to begin. As I said, it promises to be very exciting. I'm Peter Jennings. Have a good evening. Good night.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source.
Last season, the Drew Carey Show went live in 3 time zones.
5 seconds, Drew.
Wednesday, they're doing it again.
Ooh, I better get into my costume.
But this time, there'll be more surprises that even the actors won't know about. Ooh. Drew Carey goes live in 3 time zones. See you Wednesday on ABC.
First.